Hi, Rod.
Chris.
How's it going?
How are you?
All right.
Great to see you today.
You too, man. Thanks.
Thanks for coming by and for allowing me to coach you today. I certainly appreciate it. So, what's on your mind? How's everything been going?
Man, it's going great. Works has been busy, and we've been given this new initiative that we have to have our new career path set out for all the way out to the year 2020 and that path needs to be in alignment, obviously, with the company goals and initiatives.
Okay.
The company goals and initiatives are around, obviously I'm in the technology industry, and our initiatives and goals are around virtualization. So we've been given basically 3 career sectors to choose from, and network security, big data, and virtualization, software, in the lines of software development.
Okay.
Or software app development. So I've been trying to figure out the direction that I want to go. Still haven't really figured out the specific area. I know the sector I'm probably going to go into is going to be big data, because that more closely resembles what I do today. With my career, though, it's been pretty easy as far as my progression has been, because I've never really had to set out and say, okay, this is the career that I want to do, or that's the position I want to do. But now I'm finding myself in that position that I have to figure out, well, what is it you want to do? And which for me is difficult, because I don't like locking myself into something. I like having that ability to, when I do something, if I don't like it, it's not a good fit, I like having the ability to pull myself out of it and place myself elsewhere.
Flexibility.
Which has worked really well for me. I haven't been in a position yet since I've been with my current company that I haven't really enjoyed. The position I am in now, I will say, it's been running a little long. I've been in it for almost 7 years, so I am looking to make a change, and obviously that change involves higher management aspirations, which is why I'm doing the EMBA program.
Oh, great.
So I just have to figure out my long-term plan, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to set it forth, how I'm going to achieve it, and I'm finding that to surprisingly not be as easy as I thought it would be. So that was kind of what led me to reach out to you to see if you wouldn't mind give me some coaching to help me get on the path towards enlightenment.
Certainly, I'd love to. Now, you mentioned initially that the company overall has a new goal initiative, a new goal initiative. Mm-hmm. Now, how was that established, and do you have any buy-in to that? Do you have any input, or was that set up by the executive team and just implemented downward?
This was a plan that was put in place by our executive leadership. There really, to my knowledge, isn't much of an opportunity for others to weigh in. I mean, we do have things that we can participate in, Q&A sessions and forums and town halls and things of that nature. But as far as the overall strategy and focus, that's pretty much set in stone, and that's just because that's the way the industry is going. So I respect the decision, and I understand why it's being made. You have a lot of people in the industry, especially in my company, that have been here for years.
Yes.
Some of them are a little less eager to change their ways, and they're kind of content with doing what they're doing, which doesn't do much to spawn innovative thinking or innovation in itself, which is something that our company is really pushing. We want to be innovative, and we want people to think innovative and to do innovative things. But if you're going to sit and continue to be stale, then it's going to be hard to be innovative, because you're not going to learn anything new, and you're just going to basically just sit around until retirement comes. And that's not something that I want to put myself into. Obviously, I want to keep learning, which is a struggle right now, because we have so many other things that we're having to learn. So
yes,
trying to find the time and the strategy to fit it all in has been kind of tough.
Well, it sounds like this new implementation revolves solely around change. Now, how do you feel about change, and just previously, how have you dealt with change?
I'm not afraid of change. It just depends on when change comes. What's going on in my life when change happens. And change doesn't care. change is going to come no matter what, and it has its own agenda.
True.
And you have to basically work yourself around that agenda. So, and that's what I'm finding that I'm having to do. At first, change can be pretty daunting because you look at it from a standpoint of, oh man, great, I've got to learn something else, or I've got to figure out how to do this, and you know, so you start to get a little apprehensive. I'm trying to embrace this as a positive because it's going to open new doors and new opportunities for me. And where I was complaining of getting stale in the position that I'm in now and wanting more, well, this forces me to get into something new and forces me to learn something new that I may have, kind of fallen into the old, just sitting in the boat rowing down a steady stream, initiative without ever getting to the end.
Right.
Excuse me. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping to veer off of that path, get myself excited about learning something new and seeing what these new career initiatives are going to hold for me. So it's going to be an exciting time, and I look forward to it.
So exactly what type of career aspirations do you have, or has this new initiative led you towards?
Well, in the context of short-term and long-term goals, my short-term goal is to, within a year, attain a level of area manager. At my position now, we're all managers, but we're just people like me, or my level, we're managers without direct reports.
Yes.
The area manager obviously has direct reports, which is not something I've really ever done. So that'll be new.
So you don't have any direct reports at all?
No, not today.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that will change, and that'll allow me to help fine-tune my leadership skills and give me an opportunity to try something new, where I've always been strictly engineering before and just been a traditional worker bee, so to speak.
Yes.
Now be a little bit more higher on the food chain and able to help make some more strategic decisions, for my team, and have a little bit more say-so in the daily operations, which is something that I look forward to. And what I hope is that the short-term goal of achieving area manager status will just be a stepping stone to help me towards my long-term goal, which is, to achieve a level of director or above. I don't plan on stopping. I plan on continuing as long as I can, as long as the opportunities present themselves. Obviously, I realize those opportunities aren't going to present themselves if I stop in my career progression as far as my learning and training and trying to stay fresh and new and on top of things. But there is the competition factor. So there's a lot of younger kids coming out today that are what I say describe as degreed up. So they've spent most of their lives in college up to this point, and now they're coming out at 24 and 25 years old, with a undergrad and a master's degree, and either an MBA with a minor in engineering or vice versa. So I find that to be something that I have to be able to compete with, which is one reason I'm in the program that I'm in today.
So along with being in the MBA program, what other things have you done to position yourself to take advantage of the opportunities that it seems like your company seems to be offering?
Well, one of the good things about this program is the company's already made up our decisions for us. So we already have a pre-planned curriculum that we have to start training from in order to find ourselves in the position where we can obtain one of those jobs in those sectors that I had mentioned before. There's a combination of just regular training courses and then certifications. So I get the ability to do some certification material, through some certification material, which I don't have now. I don't have any certifications, which I just, for whatever reason, I never sought out. But now it's becoming internally something that they're looking for.
Oh, okay.
So that because of that, that's probably where I'll start, because I realize that, especially in the program now, we've already got a full load, and it's going to be really hard with a full-time school load, workload, and full-time family life to take on another full-time curriculum. So one of the ways I could see to maybe condense that time frame would be to maybe take some shorter certification courses that maybe don't require the same amount of time to complete a whole package, so to speak, like an undergrad program would, which is essentially what they are. They're the amount of hours required. It's basically like taking another undergrad degree. So certifications are probably what I'm going to focus on. Hoping some of those some of the coursework and the certification will blend into the curriculum that I have to have towards the bigger picture. So that's kind of the rough plan that I've set out for myself. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it, which right now is a little hard. But I figure once the program's reaching its once it starts to reach its end, that I'll start getting into that. What I hope to be able to do is I hope to be able to leverage the MBA degree after we finish as something to signal that, hey, I am committed to the task. I just finished this and I'm ready to get involved in the other initiatives now. So
good. So you mentioned that the initial short-term goal is to achieve an area manager position, correct?
Correct.
And you have to have the certifications in order to go towards that goal?
No, the certifications aren't necessarily a requirement. It's just some job specifications or some asks may put that in their requirements.
Yes.
Among many other requirements.
Okay.
So I look at it as something that I don't necessarily have to have, but it's definitely something that would help set me apart from the rest of the competition. Because, like I'd said, there's many people in the competition pool that are like like ourselves that are going to have an undergrad plus an MBA or some type of a master's degree. What's going to set us apart is the extra studying and extra certifications that we have outside of that. Okay.
And the long-term goal is, you said you are interested in a VP role.
Yeah, long-term, if the opportunity presents itself along the way, then I wouldn't shy away from it. I think I still need some more development work before I get to that point. I'm not quite seasoned enough, I don't think. So, which to me I find to be a plus is that I can recognize that about myself and not try to bite off more than I can chew, or not try to put myself out there as something that I'm not quite ready to be. And I have no time. I have no problem with the time factor. I've set a goal for myself early on, before I even started the MBA program, that I would have, and this was about 4 years ago, that I would reach director level within 10 years. So I'm in year 5 of my 10-year march towards the directorship. If I can swing getting an area manager job towards the end of the program, or just after the program completes, that'll be within my year 6. My year 6 and my year 7, I plan on spending, obviously focusing on leadership and development that are going to be required for those next level moves. So if I can get that all together, then by year 8, I expect that I'll be able to start getting into the networking that's going to be required, and extracurricular activities outside of my daily routine that are going to be necessary to help me transition to that next level.
That's good. It sounds as if you already have your SMART goals already aligned with your work goals. So it seems like you already have a solid plan in place to move forward.
It's a plan. Whether or not it's a solid plan is yet to be seen, but it's a plan.
Now, with the VP, now how does that look? I mean, what is required? I think you mentioned you have to have various certifications in order to excel in, say, maybe the other area manager role. What does that VP role look like, and why are you interested in that?
Well, I think to me what the VP role looks like is you're looking at a couple of things. You're looking at, number one, you're looking at leadership skills and characteristics, and then number 2 is you're looking at just overall knowledge, industry knowledge. Not necessarily certifications. I mean, certifications, that's always going to be a requirement for whatever. It's always a nice to have option. I know plenty of probably VPs and directors that don't have any certifications, and they still manage to get that. But it's just, like I said, it's something that helps set yourself apart and from the competition pool, and it is nice to have. But the two biggest things I think are industry knowledge and leadership ability. So there's a lot of people out there in leadership roles that I think you'd probably agree that probably shouldn't be.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely
So you're
right.
not, just because you put in the time doesn't mean you're guaranteed success
True.
at that level. There's also some other things that come into play, which is the people factor. You've got to have good people skills. You've got to have the knowledge, the industry knowledge. You've got to be able to put your faith into those that work for you. And I think what comes down to it most of all is being able to pick your team. You got to be able to pick your team, and in order to pick your team, you got to have the knowledge to make those decisions. So you need to know what you're looking for. And I think at that level, I believe they've probably gone through the paces long enough that they've pretty much got a good plan in place for how to do that and how to accomplish it, which is obviously some of the things that we've been talking about through the program, and I'm hoping to build from those and continue learning from them and applying them in my own situations.
I think you mentioned once before that one of the reasons that you are so success driven is because you are interested in obtaining a certain lifestyle for your family.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the primary reason that you want to work towards the VP role, or are you satisfied with the area manager role and you could just stay in that role permanently?
No, I don't think I'll be satisfied with that. I've invested myself in this program, which to me means that just to settle for an area manager role is just something I don't think I'd be willing to do. I want to keep going. Now, before my family, would I have said, yeah, I'll be fine with that? Maybe. It just depends on the circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've got people that depend on me, which before I didn't have a few years ago, and
Yes.
and now I do, and that changes your perspective.
Absolutely.
And also, I don't want my kids to have to worry when they're older about anything financial. I want to try to provide as best I can. I want them to be able to focus on their education, so they won't have to go through the things that I'm going through. Now, obviously, that's every parent's dream. Whether or not that happens, who knows? But at least that's the plan. I'm sure there'll probably be some speed bumps and hiccups along the way, but I think if I can remain on task, I don't see why I can't achieve it. But yes, the number one theme for me is family. I think we talked about what I'd said is if it wasn't for my family doing this, I'd probably be on a beach somewhere in Costa Rica selling bananas at a surf shack or whatever,
Exactly.
and that would have been fine for me. But now I've got a little bit more to aspire towards, and so to that, I've got to thank them for
Providing that impetus.
for putting my mind right.
Exactly. Now, do you think engineering is truly your calling? Is that something that you just enjoy doing? You have a passion for it? Is that something that you just get out of bed every day and say, I can't wait to get started?
Not really. Mm-hmm. Not really. I used to have that enthusiasm about it, but now I'm kind of wanting to go a different direction. I've been doing engineering for so long, or facets of engineering for so long, that I find myself kind of getting a little bit bored with it. No matter what engineering role it is, the processes are still the same, so
Right.
it's very repetitious work. So I would rather get involved with something maybe a little bit more that allows me more flexibility in my creativeness, which I think that's more along the lines of marketing roles. And since we've been doing the program, I've really enjoyed some of those marketing and strategy courses that we've done. even this last consulting project, which is not something that I had ever really thought about before. And then after I realized I actually did kind of enjoy it, problem solving.
Very good at it.
Yeah, problem solving is being in my line of work. You've got to be good at problem solving.
Yes.
So problem solving is something that I do like. So maybe, who knows? Maybe something more around the marketing or consulting field is maybe where I'll start to look. But in the meantime, I'm going to stick with what I know.
Yes, I certainly understand. You have knowledge to feed. I certainly understand. Well, let me ask you this. Would you be willing to accept a coaching challenge?
Sure.
Okay. I'd like for you to be introspective as well as retrospective. I'd like for you to think about all of the jobs that you've had through the years, starting with the very first one all the way up until now. I'd like for you to think about the things that you liked about those jobs, the things that you disliked about those jobs, the things that you excelled in those positions, the things that you weren't exactly good at, the things that you probably, with a little more coaching, might enjoy more. Like you mentioned, you may have had a position in the past that required you to be a little more creative, and you probably excelled at those a little more. I'd like for you to take a look at all the jobs that you've had previously and get a little piece of paper, if you will, and just write down the things that excited you about some roles and things that you were dissatisfied with in others. And try and find commonalities. Excuse me. Try and find some things that you think may draw you into returning to those particular roles in the future. As you mentioned, engineering, it pays the bills. It's a fantastic career, but it may not be your ultimate calling. Look at some of the things that you've done in the past that you've been really good at, and that you have a fondness for, something that you can have a passion for, something that you could do consistently for the remaining of your working years. It may not be something that may be as lucrative as what you're doing now, but if it's something that provides more of an impetus just to get out of bed and do what you do and something that brings you joy, then it may be something to actually think about and pursue. Is that something that you think you could do?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, great. Well, we can certainly discuss that at our rejoinder at our next the next time that we have the opportunity to get together. We can go ahead and discuss that as well. Is there anything that you'd in addition to that you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything. I think we've covered everything very thoroughly. I've been very pleased with your feedback and some of your coaching tips. I think it's going to be very beneficial for me.
Great, fantastic. It sounds as if you are certainly on the right track and you're committed to your goals, and that's exactly what I'd like to hear. So thank you very much for allowing me to coach you today.
Well, thank you for taking the time to do it.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Yeah.